Welcome to the Let's Think About It podcast, where we embark on a journey of thoughtfulness and personal growth. I'm your host, Coach Mo, and I'm here to guide you through thought-provoking discussions that will inspire you to unlock your full potential. In each episode, we'll explore a wide range of topics from self-discovery and mindfulness to goal setting and achieving success. Together, we'll challenge conventional thinking and dive deep into the realms of possibility. Whether you're looking to find clarity in your personal or professional life or seeking strategies to overcome obstacles, this podcast is your go-to source for insightful conversations and practical advice. So find a comfortable spot, chill, and let's embark on this journey of self-improvement together. Remember, the power of transformation lies within you, and together we'll uncover the tools and insights you need to make it happen. So let's dive in. Welcome to another episode of the Let's Think About It podcast. I'm your host, Coach Mo, and I'm here with another amazing guest. His name is Rob Tracz. Rob, my man, what's good?
Hey, man. Hey, what's going on, dude? It's a little rainy day here in Stamford, Connecticut, but I'm excited. I'm still amped to be here. So how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I got this energy. I'm ready to dive into our conversation. But I heard you say Connecticut, born and raised?
No, actually, I was born just outside of Philly. Parents got divorced and I moved to upstate New York. And then after college, after grad school, I moved down here and I pretty much been here for the past almost 10 years now.
Nice. So tell my audience more about you. Who are you? What you do? Floor is yours, man.
Yeah. So I'm a personal growth strategist and I specialize in helping driven individuals who are on that verge of more where they're just knocking right at the door, but they're stuck and suffering from burnout and other things that are holding them back and keeping them in that stagnation kind of state. So I come in, helping individuals look good, feel good, and just do great things and achieve some awesome stuff.
Take me through your journey. How did you land into this type of coaching?
Yeah. So as I hinted to in the beginning there, parents got divorced at a super young age. I was very isolated and it was very difficult for me to make and maintain friendships, especially because I moved around to a couple different school districts at a young age until I found a place we called home. It was a small town, Highland, New York, upstate, like Poughkeepsie kind of region. And there's not much going on up there except for apple farms and just like a bunch of cows and stuff like that. So I took to a lot of video games and a lot of isolated to myself thing until I met this one young kid named Sean and I started hanging out with him a lot more. And as our friendship started to develop through like elementary school, his dad actually was the youth football coach. So he encouraged me to come out and play for the team. And I didn't know anything about football. I didn't know anything about sports. I was like, I'm the kind of kid who was like, let's just sit on the couch and eat ice cream and watch cartoons kind of thing. And until football practice, I learned two very important lessons that first day of football practice. The first lesson being, you can't wear jeans to football practice. So I learned very quickly that I need to be able to move and be a little more agile and like actually move my legs. And then the second thing I learned was that a lot of the popular kids who seem to have all the friends on the team, they were much more active. They could do all the push-ups and the warm-ups. They could do all the running plays. They can jump over the bags, the hurdles, all those things. And I'm sitting here struggling to complete the warm-up lap. That's where I failed to jump right in. I was not that kind of person. But what I could do is I could pay attention and memorize what our warm-up was in beginning of practice. Like the jumping jacks, the stretches, the small things like that. Because I figured if I would get better at that, then it would eventually lead into better playing and things like that. And to my advantage, it was right. So the more that I practiced, the better shape I started to get into, the better shape, the more playing time. The more playing time I would get to more friends on the team. More friends on the team would lead to more birthday parties. And if I wanted to go to these birthday parties, my mom made sure that my grades were up. So really, that football team became my new family, but it also was the gateway for me to get into personal development. And from there, I just fell in love with sports. I was able to create my own family, plenty of attention from everybody. And I found myself in a leadership role on not just football, but then eventually the varsity wrestling team, the varsity lacrosse team, to the point where sports became my new main thing. Eventually, I went on to play football my freshman year of undergrad. And then I switched over into playing rugby, where we went on to win a state championship and continued with athletics. And I still play rugby to today. But that the sports was so important to me. It was that family. And once I finished undergrad, I was pretty much done with competitive sports, and it worried me. So I didn't know where I was going to find my family, get my attention, get that camaraderie that I needed. So I found myself in strength and conditioning because I'm familiar with the gym, I'm familiar with sports, I'm familiar with working together to achieve a common goal. So that was perfect for me. And typically in strength and conditioning, you fall into two categories as a coach. You either go in the collegiate setting where you try to work for bigger schools and bigger teams, or you go into the private sector where now it's a little more it's small and private, obviously by the name, but you can make a little bit more money. So I chose the private route. And that was the introduction of entrepreneurship to me. So I started to learn about scheduling and how the more I worked, the more money I would make. So I quickly scaled my book of clients up to a point where I was working 10 to 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. And nobody could tell me to not work because as long as clients wanted to train, I would be able to continue to make money. And I got into this habit where I continued to put work first, until I developed such a bad habit where I was like 3 years straight without taking a day off. Like I'm missing weddings, I'm missing birthday parties, I'm missing my friends having babies and stuff. Relationships and friendships around me are starting to fall apart. I haven't seen my family in forever. I'm skipping holidays and everything. And then until it was about a year or so after my dad had passed, he had gotten pancreatic cancer and it came in like a wrecking ball. It it was tough because he
Yeah.
found out that he had it and it was quickly ran through him. And instead of being there by his side, I continued to work. And that was painful for me. And I couldn't ever get
Yeah.
that time back. I can
What was the learning opportunity there that you was working so much and the disconnect from your family and particularly this situation with your dad and you continue to work? What was the learning outcome from that experience?
At the time, I was too busy working to pay attention. And afterwards, reflecting on it, I realized that I was continuing to work so much because that busyness made me feel like I was needed. It gave me the attention that I was craving. So going way back to when my parents got divorced, it was always like, okay, where can I get some attention kind of thing. So that went from sports, the better I did in sports, the more attention I got. Then after school and sports, it was how much money can I make? And then it was how busy can I be? And then once my dad passed, I was continuing to fill my schedule because it became a distraction. So now I'm seeking a distraction to get away from the attention and vice versa until this one weekend where I was denied that distraction and everybody was out traveling and I was by myself, no friends, no schedule with clients. And that forced me to reflect on this. And that's when I learned that, hey, I'm just running from something right now. And that was the beginning of what I do now, my performance coaching, my personal growth strategy. And that forced me to reflect back on what's worked for me in the past. How did I first build some success? What brought me to my first taste of success? And now how do I help others prevent this pain from happening where they can avoid the burnout and still achieve success? And then that's
Right.
really what brought me to here today.
That's nice. And that's a great story. So let's talk a little bit about your performance coaching. What is it, how you approach it, and what's that methodological approach that you take in performance coaching?
Yeah. So I hinted earlier when I had said that I help individuals look good, feel good, and do great things. And that tends to be like the 3 steps to what I do to help people. Each step follows 2 principles that I live my life by. So, first one being looking good. That's where we try to start with most people, but given every individual is a little bit different. So, depending on their situation, you might start in a different stage. But the first step there of looking good, the two principles are building resiliency. So that brings confidence. So that's pushing our comfort zone. So that's whether you're pushing your physical strength in the gym or your mental strength by learning new skills and taking on new hobbies, because that builds confidence both mentally and physically. And then the other half of that coin is intentional consumption. So making sure that we're eating good foods and we're eating appropriately for our goals, but still enjoying ourselves to when we want to. And not just like the dietary nutrition, but also the digital nutrition too. So how much educational content or motivational content, what kind of books and podcasts are we consuming? Or are we just binging on Netflix 24/7? And is that draining us of our energy? So once we got our challenges down, Pat, where we're comfortably challenging and pushing our comfort zone and expanding our confidence, and we're also intentional with what we're consuming, then we can check that box for looking good, because you've got those things down. If you're taking care of yourself physically and mentally in both components, then you're going to be in better shape. You're going to be feeling strong. You're going to be looking good. And that's the whole premise of that stage. And from there, you can go into the feeling good, which is two components of clarity of your goals and where you're trying to get to, and understanding genuinely who you are. So figuring out your values, your character traits, your goals, and your strengths and your weaknesses. And once we know that and we have clarity, now it's time to optimize our actions and improving our rules and our routines that we live our lives by. And once you get both of those down, you should be feeling good because you're aligned, your actions reflect your goals you're trying to achieve, and you can start to make the progress and you're genuinely feeling good. So that's where that name comes from. And then when you're looking good and feeling good, you can finally start to do great things. But before you can actually achieve those great things, you got to surround yourself with great people. So we focus on social skills and your social support system, which I like to refer to as the team triangle. I've got like a whole exercise of mapping out who's on your team specifically, getting yourself around eight all-star players. Then it's time to create a little luck, because you always need a little bit of luck on your side, because I'd rather be lucky than good at the end of the day, so that you can start to achieve great things. And what that really is just when preparation meets opportunity. So when you do the first stuff for looking good and feeling good, you've got that prep down. Now it's about figuring out how to create opportunity. And then that really just brings the character full circle. Looking good.
That's awesome. Happy for you in your approach. But something that's resonating with me, you said a couple of things: feeling good, looking good, and feeling great. I think you said doing great and resilient.
Yep.
How do you help a person if they're showing up and they want these things, but there's fear or doubt that's blocking them from being resilient or feeling good or being great? How do you approach it from that angle?
Yeah. So if someone's showing up and they're asking me like, hey man, I want to tackle these things. I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm struggling because I'm afraid or something's holding me back or this thing keeps happening to me. What that's telling me is this individual might be lacking stability or lacking that endurance or lacking that grit to push through when life throws the punches at us. And that's really what resiliency is to me. It's the ability to handle those punches when life throws and step back into the ring and keep fighting. And you do that through confidence and competence. And you build those by pushing yourself physically. So that could be in the gym, that could be doing like cold plunges, that could be getting up early, those types of things that are uncomfortable, but that trains ourselves, because you take the small steps and you stack those up and it builds the discipline. So down the road, the harder things don't seem so bad. And then at the same time, it's the cognitive challenge as well. So might be starting with improving our decision-making skills. So going out to eat instead of fussing back and forth between two things, just make a decision and stick with it. And then also learning new things, expanding ourselves cognitively. So let's see, what are we interested in? What kind of hobbies? What kind of new sports or languages or things can we test out? Because once you go through and you learn anything, you're going to start off terrible no matter what. And it's a learning process to get better. And as you get better, you get more comfortable with it. So when you pair the physical training And then the cognitive training, you build the confidence in yourself. And the more confidence you have, the more competent you become, because then you can actually achieve and complete the things that you set out to do. And that right there is resilience, in my opinion, is now you're confident to handle it, and then you're strong enough to actually go out and handle it.
So, are your clients specifically like athletes, or is it entrepreneurs in business or whatnot?
Yeah, so my clients are I go out with just the idea of helping whoever I might be able to align with. So it's got to be a right fit for both of us, I think. But typically, it seems to be most of my clients are entrepreneurs or some sort of a side hustler, like
Okay.
starting their venture, and they're starting to dabble with it. Like might still have their 9 to 5, but they've got this other project that they're trying to do. And then the other half typically are people who have made that shift into business owners where they have a staff or they have other things going, but now they need to level up. And it usually falls under one of the different principles that we practiced going through.
What's the common theme from prospective clients that come to you? What's the common theme of challenges that they're facing, and how you help them overcome that?
Yeah, I would say that the common theme through line for everybody, which is probably ignorance. So it's somebody's lacking awareness in one of the principles. So if you were to simplify each of the six, it's the first one is weakness. So it's like mental and physical weakness, unable to stabilize things, or lack of energy. So they're consuming incorrectly or not aligned with what they want to be doing, either mentally or physically, or they're lacking clarity. So their goals might be misaligned. Think about like when I was working because I was seeking attention. So I thought the more I work the badge of honor that I'm always busy, that would give me more attention. But at the same time, I'm over here working that I'm missing out on where the attention's actually coming from, like my father and my family and other things. Or number four is they lack the awareness of optimizing. They're the kind of person who's no, I can do this all on my own. I got to just barrel through, nobody else. Where they could easily just hire an assistant that can handle a lot and they free up a lot of their time. Or maybe their routines are out of sync and they wake up disheveled and running out the door, and they're constantly in a reactive state instead of a proactive approach to living their lives. And it's too chaotic. So creating some efficiency can reduce some of that chaos. Or the other one could be lack of support. So they don't know how to communicate. They're too afraid to reach out for help. They don't have a strong system around themselves to lean on to earn more money or to build to the next level. And then the last one is the opportunity. Hey, if I'm stuck and if can't figure out how to get to the next level, where can I find the opportunity? And there's opportunity around us everywhere. It's just you got to know where to look and how to. And once you have those other principles all finished and you're prepared, you can handle all these opportunities because you're open and available to take on the opportunities.
And I hear a lot of similarities in your approach to what I do, but the word that sticks out to me is energy, because I'm an energy leadership coach. And we show up through energy. And however that energy is through your viewpoint. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? And we show up a certain way. But that way that we show up resonates a certain type of energy. And the way that I look at it is it's this motivating type, fueling type energy that you may have, or it's this draining type energy that you may have, right? And typically, when we're dealing with entrepreneurs, just like you said, some people may be feeling stuck in this rut. And when they're feeling that way, they're experiencing that draining type energy. And so my goal is to how do we shift them from this draining type energy to a more productive, fueling type energy, right? And it can be measured through our emotions, those emotions of fear, worry, doubt, insecurity, anxiety, stress, all of that is the draining type energy. And what I've learned is when you're in the space of feeling confident, synergy, joy, love, you're more naturally more productive. You're more confident. And it becomes a habit to really resonate in that space because now you're generating experiences. And I think about your situation of what you said, your story, right? And how you was working, the amount of time that you was working, right? But you had this energy that like really kept you going, right? That's what it is. That's the power in helping people make those shifts through energy. And I know this, I know I'm going on about this, but
Oh, no, this is gold. I love this.
I love it though, man, because if we can connect that with people and help them really understand that, that becomes the self awareness that they're looking for to get out of the rut.
Exactly. That's it.
Share with me one of your success stories. Someone that's came to you and they were struggling, they were in this rut. What was that like? What was that experience like, and how you helped them?
Yeah, this young guy, he came to me and he originally was just looking to lose a little bit of weight and digging in. It was like, okay, yeah, let's get into some sort of exercise routine. Let's start training. And things were going pretty smoothly at first. And then the typical dieting and weight loss, weight gain kind of thing would start happening. And then he was really upset as we spent more time together figuring things out. He's really upset about the job he was in, the position. He's an author, but he's working this job that's not aligned with anything that he wants to be doing. And he was there for 12 to 15 years. This guy is like putting his whole life at this one job, and they're not respecting him or giving him anything back. And it's just eating him away because it takes a lot of his energy, and then he defaults to bad eating habits and other vices, and he never gets to his writing, which is what energizes him, and he's being drained from this one position. Once we identified that, then we started to branch out to looking for new jobs and new things. And he's been at this one position for so long that his resume was a mess, and he was struggling to get through these interviews and kept getting rejection after rejection. And it was just like the thing again. So it's sucking more energy, defaulting to certain things in that yo-yoing cycle again. And we were connecting and reminding him, dude, hey man, this is why you've been going to the gym. You've been growing this resiliency. You've been pushing your comfort zone, going to a lot of networking events. You've been going to conferences. You've been connecting with people left and right. You're growing your social network. There's a lot of great things going on around you. And these rejections are just making you a little bit stronger each time. And eventually you're going to land the dream job and you're going to be so amped for it. And then a couple of weeks later, he comes back to me and he got a dream job, something that he was dying for. But not only one offer, he had two job offers from two different companies. So his
That's
challenge was
cool.
like, dude, now what do I do? I don't know which one I want to take. So I'm like, dude,
Right.
when you have a problem of making a tough decision like this, then dude, that's a great problem to have. And
That's
he
an awesome problem to have.
yeah. So he took this great position where it's like significantly better. He's energized. And now he has so much more energy that he was struggling to write 5 pages a month for his novel that he's been working on for years. Now he's knocking out like 15 to 25 pages a day. This guy is just hammering it because he's energized, he's amped up, he's making more money, he's
Absolutely.
living life, and he's loving it.
Absolutely. And people, I don't know, people don't want, there's some that believe this, some that don't. They're wherever they are on this, but energy is everything. And that's where I say, like, in the job search, for example, and you at a job and you like, I hate this job. I need to get out of here. And there's a certain energy that you carry with that. Energy translates into the job search and how you're approaching it energy wise. And if you have this negative vibe about your situation, ultimately it makes it a little bit difficult to find that next job because that energy is resonating through how you're submitting your applications, how you are writing your resume, how you're in the interview, all of that. It all aligns. But listening to this story, the encouragement, the reinforcement helped shift his energy to be more optimistic, and he started getting the results.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah. The guy is incredible, and I'm just blessed to be able to work with him because now he's doing so great, and it motivates me and it inspires me. So now we're feeding into each other with our energies, and it's just stacking up and building. And once you make that shift, and you can start to pave the road, the hardest thing really is just seeing the vision and seeing it down there, because for so long when you're stuck and everything's draining your energy, it's hard for you to believe that there is a different side. But once you get a taste for it, it's like the floodgates open, right?
And the thing about energy is perspective. It's just how you see the world in that moment. And whatever the situation is and how you see it, it creates a viewpoint. And that viewpoint creates a certain judgment, right? And those judgments can be a limiting belief, it could be an assumption, it can be a story that you're telling yourself, right? And based on whatever that story is, can create this negative, draining feeling that you have of what you're seeing right there. But the power, we have the ability to shift that viewpoint. We can be very optimistic and excited about the next opportunity that's coming. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm excited as hell because it has my name written all on it. It's just a matter of time that I'm going to get this opportunity, and I can't wait. I feel it.
Yeah, you can feel
That
it, right? Yeah.
that energy will land you something a lot faster than complaining, playing the victim, and bitching and complaining that you need something. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, dude. It's that you said it right there. When you're complaining, you're the victim, woe is me, that whole thing. It's you once you can shift out of that, dude, it's like it's amazing, right? It's a whole nother world. And as you were saying, you can literally feel it. I know when I get a lot of things and I'm creating and I'm helping a lot of other people, and I can feel an uptick in just flow of everything, and it feels incredible because you don't know exactly what it is, like you said something's there and it's coming and it's right on the brink. And dude, I love it. I love that.
So tell me this. You said you work with a lot of entrepreneurs too. How do you help them when they come to the verge of feeling burned out and not really motivated? What does that look like? How is that different for you in approaching?
Yeah, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, like each person's a little bit different. So I try not to have a this is the right way to do this kind of thing. Like we got to start here, you got to go there. But although I flow in a process of my coaching and strategy for building up and getting to the next level, everyone's a little different. So it's really taking a step back, because sometimes when we're in it ourselves, it's hard for us to see the whole picture because we're only looking at it through one lens. So when I come in, it gives a second lens, a second perspective on the situation. So it's a lot of like question asking and understanding the situation and really getting a feel for it. And then sharing my take on it. Hey, maybe we need to spend a little bit of time on this. Maybe we need to do a little bit of role playing to build up our confidence in connecting with other individuals. Or maybe we need to do a little bit of goal setting and action setting so that we can start to chip away some of these smaller things. Or maybe it's just someone who's, hey, I need to build a little more of this resilience. Every time I get a no or my boss says this or that, I have an emotional breakdown where then I have to take a day off of work and this and that. And then maybe it's just, hey, we just got to focus a little bit more on our digital diet. Maybe we're just spending too much time doom scrolling, and that takes away so much energy that we're unmotivated because we're seeing everyone's highlight reel. And when we look at everyone's highlight reel versus our everyday reel, it's not so shiny and flashy. And then this discourages us. And then that kind of sucks away the motivation to push or to start that new project or to ask that girl out or to seek after that promotion, whatever it may be. So each person's a little bit different, but it really starts with that awareness and figuring out, okay, what do we feel like our problem is that's holding us back? And what is it? What can we work together to figure this out together?
Okay. So what's next for you? You share your journey and your coaching practice, and it sounds like you've been like very successful up to this point. but what's next for you?
Recently, it's been speaking on stages and going to different conferences. I've spoken now internationally and in a bunch of different states here in the United States and a couple of major conferences here in Connecticut. And I think I'm changing, taking a shift, and I'm giving a go at teaching my coaching, my principles, but in the school setting, working with some younger kids to help them build that physical, mental, emotional resiliency, bringing all my principles in to teach them communication skills, leadership skills, goal setting, things like that, but to kids. So it's a fun approach. We've got different games, we've got activities, and we've got a great spin on it. So I'm excited for this because it's a new adventure for me. And it's a new audience to teach what I'm teaching to many people, but with a new challenge. And I'm excited for that. So this next year, 2025, I'm going to dive into that a little bit more, but still keeping my coaching, my one-on-one, my group coaching, and my professional speaking, like on stages and such. That's still going to be rolling. But the new adventure with the kids in the schools is the new project for the next year.
Man, that's powerful right there. That's great. That's great. From experience, I created a coaching and career development unit in my organization, and I brought the whole new concept in. So I'm speaking from experience. The amount of influence it's done for the leaders within my organization has been powerful. It has been historic. So just listening to the possibility of you doing something like this in schools, the impact it would have on young minds under learning about coaching. Really, coaching is about seeking understanding and asking those powerful questions, active listening, and installing these kind of concepts and having kids experience it. A wonderful thing, man. And I wish you the best on that. I really do. I think that's an excellent, powerful idea.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
As we approach closing out, is there lasting thoughts that you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, the one message that I feel like just runs through me and that I've been sharing with a lot of individuals is to pay attention, but pay attention to what works for you. I feel like so many individuals are out here trying to copy everybody doing this, doing that. And that's cool and that's good because that's gets the ball rolling and that gets things in action. There's got to be a time when you take what you're working and you have to make it uniquely yours if you want it to excel and accelerate through. So, and that really starts with paying attention with what works for you, whether that's in your personal development or your professional development. Pay attention to what energizes and motivates you and stick with those things. There's a reason why you're good at these things. So stick with them and keep going. And you'll see everything pay off for you.
There it is. Another nugget from Rob. Who's your clientele, Rob?
Like I said, it's individuals who are stuck, burnt out, but they know they're destined for more. So they still have to have that drive in them where they're like, right there, I can taste it so close to it, but they're suffering from something that's holding them back. And that's where I come in to help them identify, bring awareness to the different principles and really practice the exercises and skills that kind of help bring you up to that next level so you can knock down that wall and get there, get to where you're trying to get to and look good, feel good, and do great things.
That's what's up. And how can my audience find you?
Yeah, the best place to find me is on social media. I hang out on Instagram and LinkedIn the most. And Instagram handle is just my name, Rob Tracz. Same thing on LinkedIn. So pretty easy to find. Reaching out. I'm always open to messages. So if you have any questions on anything, any kind of practices or exercises or different strategies that help level up your communication, clarity, efficiency, whatever it may be, doors are always open. And also checking out my podcast too, Surviving the Side Hustle, helping other entrepreneurs relate to successful, upcoming, and those who are in that grind by sharing their stories, their struggles, and their secrets to performing at a high level.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Coach Mo, man, this was great. I loved it. Thank you so much for having me on. This was an honor, and I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Let's Think About It. Your time and attention are greatly appreciated. If you found value in today's discussion, I encourage you to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, the journey of self-improvement is ongoing, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. Connect with me on social media for updates and insights. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Coach Mo Coaching or LinkedIn at Maurice Mabry. Or visit my website at mauricemabry.com for exclusive content. Until next time, keep reflecting, keep growing, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. Remember, the most effective way to do it is to do it. Together, we're making incredible strides toward a better and more empowered you. So thank you, and I'll see you in our next episode.